long as it's written in this book. Warning. Do not read this book straight through from beginning to end. These pages contain many different adventures you may have when you join your uncle, a famous archaeologist, in his search for an ancient civilization. From time to time, as you read along, you will be able to make choices. Your choice may lead to success or disaster. The adventures you have will be the result of those choices. After you make your choice, follow the instructions to see what happens next. Beware, your expedition to the outback could prove deadly.
SexyHackers.com.
Life is like a story with many paths to choose. I gotta get some good friends to help me make it through. So here's the plan, just take my hand, the adventure's just begun. And all we have to do is turn to page fun.
Beep, boop, beep, a theme song. Hello, and welcome to Turn to Page Fun, the only podcast where I, your host, Nick Fear, reads through Choose Your Own Adventure books that we found in my partner's parents' attic in a case. An idea that was so good, I decided to steal it from her and freeze her out of the production process. With me, as always, are some of my friends to help me through this adventure. Today, we are reading Terror in Australia by Shannon Gilligan. And to help me make decisions about terror in Australia, I have on my left Mr. Brian Bear. Hi, Brian.
Hello.
Oh.
And good day.
Oh.
Yeah. We're going to be, this accent's going to be all over the place.
It's going to be
today.
all over this book. And, and somebody leaked that we were going to do this book to you.
Yes.
You brought...
Oh, yes. I straight up brought a didgeridoo.
And you're wearing a hat.
I am wearing a hat. I'm wearing a fancy, I don't know, what do you call it, an outback hat? With the one end up for some reason?
Yeah,
I wonder why that is.
So that you burn one side of your face, silly.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was for when I throw my boomerang. Oh, God.
So you can see Is there an Australian in here?
Wait a minute.
Over to my right is my friend and comedy producer, Miss Laura Halterman. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Nick.
How are you?
I am excellent. And the reason it goes up on one side is when you're firing your rifle, Brian.
Oh.
So it tips up to get your...
That explains way more than I
Clever.
Learned that from Crocodile Dundee.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, you see her when, what's her name? Linda, what's her face? The actress from the 80s who never did anything else
Hamilton?
in her career. No.
Okay.
But she lines up to shoot the bad guys because, Nick Dundee taught her how to shoot. And it pops her hat up to the side.
There you go.
Now we all learned something.
We learned something
did.
already here on Turn to Page Fun. And finally, special guest with us today is my good friend, novelist, and ex-tromboner, Mr. Jacob Wolfel. Hi, Jake.
Hello. Ex-tromboner. Yeah, that'll be my new title whenever
That's your
use
new
myself.
professional title is ex-tromboner.
Oh, that's
You can-
too bad.
Trombonist?
You can try the didgeridoo later if you want.
I
For,
will try that,
Episode
yeah.
2 if you want to, or
I
5
will.
or whatever.
I will take you up on that offer, Brian.
All right. Gonna didgeridoo it up.
What's going on in the world of Jacob?
Working on the old Camp Nano right now, if you're familiar with that.
No.
No, you're not familiar with that? It's NaNoWriMo. Are you familiar with that?
No.
It's going to take like 8 explanations. You write a lot in a month. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you got to like hit a number. So that's
Oh,
what I'm doing.
right.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about That's it. That's like the most that's going on.
That's cool.
Thank you.
All right.
I
Are
think
you
so.
ready to experience some terror in Australia?
Oh, you better believe it.
All right, cool. All right, so let's go. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start Terror in Australia by Shannon Gilligan. Copyright
This is important.
1988.
Oh.
All right.
So this was
So,
written in 1988. So
Pretty
this is
modern
19
for our collection.
It is.
That was the
Pretty
year
modern.
I was born.
I mean, oh, that's nice.
Well, you're going to get all of our references then.
Yay! So is the genre for this? Is this a horror? Like, because it's.
I have no idea what this is.
Oh.
From the cover, it
yeah.
seems like it's an adventure. You are in the cockpit of a plane, and there's lightning striking at you. And it seems like you are allowed to fly the plane and you started a fire, and then the guy that let you fly the plane is just having a headache in the back because he knew that was going to happen. That's what's happening on the front of the book.
Someone's in khaki. Is everyone in khaki?
Of course everyone's in khaki.
Okay.
It's
They're in
Australia.
Australia.
Right.
So adventure/horror, maybe.
Maybe. We're going to find
We'll
out
find
right
out.
now.
Yeah, we'll find out.
You open your eyes and stretch lazily, expecting to hear the muffled sounds of your parents making breakfast downstairs. Then you remember your mom and dad left Australia yesterday for a 3-week vacation in the United States. For the first time in your life, you're on your own. I don't know if you're Australian already. We're not going to be Australian. Just think, Ned, you say to your cat while you get ready to brush your teeth. 3 whole weeks to live it up. A few minutes later, you've put the kettle on for tea and are about to pour yourself a glass of orange juice when you hear a knock at the front door. Ned stops licking his paws long enough to follow you as you answer it. Oh, hi, Waldo, you say cheerily. Waldo, your neighbor and friend, delivers a newspaper every morning. What's up? Aren't you related to Gilroy Adams, the archaeologist? He asks.
And good morning to you too. Jeez. What's with the
That's a
questions?
burning question from Waldo. He couldn't wait to get over to you and ask that question.
You don't even have your eyes open yet from that picture that I'm
You
seeing.
are, oh yeah, so there's a picture on the first page. You are in your pajamas, clearly hungover, and you have a little cat circling around
Ned.
Ned the cat circling around your ankle, and then Waldo is giving you a paper and
asking questions about
and
your
asking questions about your family and admonishing you for being so hungover.
He's a
leaning
spy.
in pretty assertively. He's got like his foot in the door. He's
Calling
not
it now.
going
He's a
anywhere.
spy.
Just a quick thought. Why is it a common theme with these that the parents are on vacation for weeks?
Because otherwise they wouldn't let you have an amazing adventure.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Or you'd like die in front of their eyes, which
I didn't realize it was such a common trope, though. Because it's
I
like
did
the
not
second or
either.
third time.
It's
Yeah,
like a Disney
you're
movie.
right.
You
Yeah.
never have parents.
No,
Yeah.
they can't be there.
They're always on vacation because they hate you.
Yep.
They leave you at home.
They hate
finally
fun. They hate
to
fun.
go to America.
Anyway, so he asks, aren't you related to Gilroy Adams, the archaeologist? He asks. Well, he's my mother's youngest brother, you reply. Why? Here, Waldo says, handing you the paper. He's made the front page of today's Melbourne Age and probably a lot of other papers. Thought you'd be interested. Thanks, you say curiously as Waldo heads off. So you are in Australia. Okay. So we are now going to go to
Waldo.
page 2 and be Australian.
Uh-oh.
You unroll the newspaper. The picture on the first page is Gilroy, all right. You read the article. Gilroy Adams, 20-year-old renegade archaeologist, holds an amulet that he claims is proof of Satyrian, a highly developed ancient civilization, the capital of which is believed to be located in the middle of the Gibson Desert. Adams reports that the amulet was discovered by an Aboriginal friend on walkabout in the region. Initial analysis of the piece indicates that it is made of a substance heretofore unknown to man. Mr. Adams is the youngest archaeologist to ever graduate. Before you finish the article, the phone rings. Gilroy, you exclaim when you hear your uncle's voice on the line. I was reading about the amulet in the paper. You made the front page of Melbourne Age. That's really exciting. Thanks, kiddo, your uncle replies. Exciting is the word, all right. Maybe too exciting. I think I need your help.
That's right. When there's an exciting situation, I call my
This is
nephew.
escalating so quickly.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you wake up, someone comes over, they ask you a direct question about the adventure. They're like, oh, look at this newspaper. Here's the adventure. And then an interruption. Here, hey, let's go on an adventure. Like, what?
Yes.
Yep.
What? My help, you reply. What's wrong? You and Gilroy have always been close, and he has seemed much more like a cousin or a friend than an uncle. You know that Gilroy trusts you completely. Nothing's wrong. Yet, Gilroy replies. Just suspicions, but I can't talk on the phone. We need to meet in person. Can you come to Alice Springs? My expedition leaves from here in 2 days. Your heart jumps at your uncle's words. You've wanted to go on an expedition with Gilroy for as long as you can remember, but your parents have never allowed it. As your father is fond of saying, Gilroy's got kangaroos in the top of his bedding. But this time, your parents aren't here.
No.
Will I be back in 3 weeks? You ask, crossing your fingers. Sure, we can arrange that. Gilroy replies.
Can arrange that.
I'm on, you cry. Gilroy gives you the address of his hotel. I'll be there as soon as I can, you promise, before hanging up.
Wait, so is the first choice to whether to go on adventure for 3 weeks and let your cat starve because no one else is home?
Who is watching us?
Well, you can just give the
Waldo
cat.
will take care of the cat. He's your best friend.
Just put like 4 bowls of food out. They'll be fine. They've figured out. But one thing, like your cousin, who's that close with their cousin, right?
It's
Are you
his
closer to your
uncle.
cousin than your uncle?
It's your
Really
uncle.
close
I know,
with
but
my
that was saying
cousins.
you're closer. He's closer like a
I don't
friend
know.
or a
I
cousin.
know some cousins who are pretty close.
Just really close cousins. All right,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Just curious. Just curious.
Later that morning, you're busily packing for your trip while your neighbor Waldo and Ned, your cat, look on. What happens if your parents find out where you're going? Waldo asks nervously. He's Australian now, too.
Yep.
Well, if you take good care of Ned in the house and keep quiet about my trip, they'll never find out, you answer. What do I tell them if you're not home in 3 weeks? It won't matter, you reply with a smile, because if I'm not home in 3 weeks, my parents will kill me. Waldo rolls his eyes. How are you traveling to Alice Springs? He wants to know. I haven't made up my mind. The train is cheaper, but if I go that way, I won't get there till tomorrow morning. If I take a plane, I won't have any money left over, but I'll bet I'll be in Alice by dinner. Beep, beep. The taxi you called is announcing its arrival. You've got to decide soon, Waldo points out. I'll decide right now, you tell him.
Excited.
If you decide to go to Alice Springs by train, turn to page 3. If you decide to go by plane, turn to page 18.
So kangaroo is not a choice.
Kangaroo is not a choice to travel.
All right.
At this juncture in our adventure.
All right. All right.
So our first decision is whether or not to be fiscally responsible.
Yes.
Why do I feel like I'm in charge of this one?
Well, given the picture on the cover is a plane crashing, I feel like
Yeah, with lightning striking
maybe
it.
maybe the train is the safer option here.
I mean, it is cheaper, and I mean, what's going to be the difference if we get there a day from now or right now? So.
I mean, you have
Right.
2 days to get there.
2 days.
Well, yeah, that's
I mean, take the
plenty of
train.
time.
So that's
Take
plenty
the
of-
train.
It's like
taking
there's going to
the
be a
scenery?
train robbery or anything, right?
Oh,
Is there?
shit.
Oh, well, now there's stakes now.
Because in 1988, everyone knows the great train heist of 1988 in Australia.
Yeah, stranger things
Paralyzed
happen.
the country.
Yeah.
They ride the kangaroos right up next to the train. Pull over!
Well, what kind of knives do they have?
I think the train's the way to
Yeah.
go. I feel like
Yeah,
the train is the
I
answer.
think train.
Everyone wants to go by train. Okay.
Yeah.
It's romantic.
No train has ever crashed.
No. Comparatively.
Oh, this pack is heavy, groans Waldo in a cockney all of a sudden as he helps you carry your things to the cab.
Waldo's from everywhere.
Where will it be? Asks the driver, opening the trunk of the cab. The train station, please, you reply. Turning to your friend, you add, you never know when extra cash will come in handy. Be careful, Waldo says, giving you a shy hug.
Oh.
Watch out for wild camels, and please, don't be late coming home. Oh, I won't, you say breezily. I hope, you add to yourself. A half hour later, you're comfortably settled in a second-class sleeping car. The Melbourne Star lurches slowly from the train station. You look at your watch. Right on schedule, you think. Your search for the lost city of Satyrian has begun.
I would like to imagine a crazy, like, 80s style montage of Ned and Waldo just, like, having a great time while you're gone. Little tea party, and they're just watching shows.
He's taking Ned around on his paper route. and
Yep.
Ned is just like in his little front basket as he's throwing. Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, that's
That could
nice.
be its own adventure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why aren't we reading that adventure?
We should write that. We'll write the
Next
spinoff.
Okay.
That'll be the sequel.
Sequel? Mm-hmm. That'd be a spinoff. For
Fun in Australia.
You pull out a beginner's guide to archaeology. Well, let me just bone up on this archaeology that I'm supposed to. Oh,
Bone up. Oh, dude. That'd be paleontology,
that would
probably.
be brilliant. Stop this archaeology and try to read, but you're just too excited. At last, you decide to go to the dining car and have a bite to eat instead. You move carefully through the narrow corridors, swaying gently with the train. Whomp! A short, pacey-looking man veers around the corner and plows right into you.
Pacey?
Pasty.
Oh, pasty.
Pasty.
It's like Pacey from Dawson's Creek.
No, pasty.
Looks like- all right.
don't wanna wait for my love. Excuse me, sir, you say politely, trying to help the man back to his feet. He furiously clutches a worn black briefcase to his chest and squirms from out of your chest. Leave me alone! I can get up myself! He barks in a heavy accent that you can't identify.
That worked out.
Great. Then he shoves you out of the way and hurries off. Well, what's the matter with him, you wonder? He acted as if I tried to steal his stupid briefcase.
Probably full of stupid things. Yeah. Maybe it's a Satyrian accent.
Maybe it's his plans to rob the train, and we can get the train robbery we were hoping for.
We could have just averted it. Is this the Spider-Man story?
I think it is.
All right.
You reach the dining car and order a double coffee milkshake. As you drink, you forget the strange man. You're lost in daydreams of the artifacts you'll find with Gilroy and the mysteries that lie ahead,
Well, if you bone up on
waiting
your
to be unraveled.
archaeology first.
Dining car's closing, a voice says. What? What? You ask, coming back to reality. I said the dining car's closing. It's 11 o'clock, the waiter tells you. Oh, yes, sorry, you say, rubbing your eyes. Outside, a dark, starry sky speeds past. You must have fallen asleep. You stand up, leave a tip on your table, and head back to your seat. Passing through the first-class cars, you spot the odd little man that you bumped into. He's alone in his compartment and appears to be sound asleep. His precious briefcase has fallen out of his grasp and opened. Papers are fanned out all over the floor near his feet. You feel a sudden urge to look at the papers. Just what's so important about them? You glance stealthily up and down the corridor. No one is in sight. And if someone comes along, you could easily pretend that you're picking up the papers. But what if the man wakes up and recognizes you? What if he's not asleep at all? If you decide to look at the man's papers under the pretext of picking them up for him, turn to page 13. If you decide to leave his papers where they are, turn to page 27.
So we're just gonna barge into this guy's room
so your
and like.
choices are to be a normal human being and just move along, or to harass a stranger that you bumped into earlier.
Right.
Wait, why is he just asleep with his sleeping compartment open? This feels like a trap.
It feels like a trap.
It
yeah.
does feel like a trap.
We have no reason. There's literally no reason we would possibly
Other than
ever do this.
curiosity?
Like, other than just be like, I can
'cause
make
you're
an
a
action
kid?
happen right now. I'm going to do it, right? Like,
Right,
why would we do
just
that? What is he going to find?
What if they're archaeology papers and you could learn more?
Right.
Yeah,
that
but you'd
could
be too excited to read them.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I can't even read the book. We don't even.
Yeah.
We can't even read the introductory
It's
book
just
for God's
straight
sake.
up like invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
If you're an asshole, turn to page.
Right. Maybe that's just the clear road to death right away. Like, oh, you're going to be this kind of person? Well, we're going to show you
Yeah,
that you
you're
can't
gonna-
do this. So
Will
I think
there
we
be
shouldn't. I think it's,
punishment
I,
for
I don't see
No,
why
you
we
want to play
would.
it safe and just keep on walking and not molest a strange man with his papers?
I know it's hard to
mean-
believe, but no, I don't want to molest that poor man.
Going,
That's
I feel like that'll kickstart some kind of adventure, though. But I feel like we've got enough adventure on our plate with Gilroy.
We're already on a train, Brian.
We're on a train.
How much more adventure do you need?
It's true.
What's wrong with you?
Who could ask for anything more? Trains.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know what? I say we leave him be. He's probably going to pop up later anyway and do something weird. So I say we leave it alone.
I agree. Those are probably just his taxes from 2017. Like, it's not anything exciting.
All right. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and not bother him, not look
Nice.
at these papers, these very curious, enticing papers,
Nah.
right after this quick word from our sponsor.
SexyHackers.com.
Today's program is brought to you by Weirdo Brand Suitcases. Do you have secrets? Do you want to hide them from prying eyes? They're always watching. Try Weirdo Brand Suitcases to hide all your scattered papers and scribbled drawings. Guaranteed to pop open when you least expect it. To lure children into your web of despair.
Or for your tax returns.
Or for your tax return. Weirdo Brand Suitcases. They're watching.
SexyHackers.com.
And we are back to turn to page fun. All right. So in our last segment, we were deciding whether or not we wanted to go into that weird guy's cabin and snoop around his papers, and we decided resoundingly that we were not going to do that.
We're not a bunch
because
of
it was some
jerks.
sort of weird trap. So we just decided to pass along and ignore him. You walk right by the papers. If that weirdo were to wake up, you think, he'll probably call the railway police or something.
Railway
Yeah,
police.
they call them the Rayleys.
Railway police.
The release. That's a good name. Nice.
You continue to your sleeping compartment. Once in bed, you're quickly rocked to sleep by the train. Several hours later, a clicking noise in the hallway jerks you awake. Someone is trying to pick the lock on your compartment door. As you lie there frozen, the train zooms by a station. For a split second, you see the silhouette of a tall, heavy-set figure against the light. Then, it's gone. By the time you clamber out of your bunk and check the hallway, no one is there. Should you tell a porter what just happened? You finally decide not to. The lock looks fine, and you're not sure anyone would believe your story. The porter might just think you've been dreaming. And as you stare down the quiet hallway, you're not sure you haven't been. I'll be glad when I get to Alice Springs, you think, with a shudder.
Call those railies.
Yeah, call the railway police and be like, hey, this guy was trying
If you
to pick
get
my lock.
caught, you got to go to rail jail.
Like, oh, they doesn't trust them though. Like, why would they not believe you? What? Like,
Hey, Cap.
Yeah, you're just a kid.
yeah.
Yeah, you probably made it up.
Yeah, you're probably
attention, ain't you?
That's right. Everyone knows there's no crime on trains.
Oh, you're right.
here in
Yeah.
Australia, where we're from.
You're right, officer. I was
Where are your
lonely.
parents anyway?
I was a real lonely officer. I just wanted to hug.
You toss and turn uncomfortably for the rest of the night. When the Melbourne Star pulls into the Alice Springs station in the morning, you feel anything but rested. You lug your bags onto the platform and scan the crowd for your uncle. You don't see him anywhere, but in a minute, a young woman dressed in loose khaki clothing approaches you. Your Uncle Gilroy sent me, she informs you. I'm Anna Williams, she smiles, extending her hand. My uncle sent you? You ask. You recall the odd events of last night and suddenly are filled with suspicion. Yes. He asked me to take you back to the hotel and brief you along the way, she replies, reaching for one of your bags. Why should I trust you? You challenge her. My uncle didn't say anything about someone else meeting me. Oh, please, it's for your own good, Anna says quietly.
Why quietly?
I don't know.
For
that's
your own
ominous.
good.
That doesn't sound good at all.
That will
Yeah.
make you trust you a lot more. It's for your own good. Also, she's wearing khaki just like everyone else in Australia.
Yeah. So
All right.
You can only tell her from everybody else apart because she's a woman.
Yep.
You're going to feel pretty stupid if you get back to the hotel and this woman does indeed turn out to work for Gilroy. On the other hand, you're really spooked by the events on the train and that figure outside your door last night. Someone is out to get you. You can just feel it. For all you know, it could be this woman. If you tell Anna Williams that you'd feel safer meeting her at the hotel, turn to page 65. If you decide to take your chances and accept a ride with Anna, turn to page 34.
I mean, this is classic stranger danger, right?
Yes, stranger danger.
There's no passcode. There's nothing given. You didn't work out anything with Uncle
No,
Gilroy.
No,
But they
Gilroy.
do know who you are and who your family is. My question is, how old are we again? Like, how old are
Yeah, it
we?
wasn't really.
We are your age.
We're
Oh,
okay.
well, then I'm fine. 'cause
Whoever
I'm-
is reading this, yeah, we're your age. You were old enough to be alone for the very first time.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And hungover,
Say
it
like-
looks like, from that first picture of you.
Okay.
If you're in
we're not
Australia,
quite
that's-
there yet.
that's
yeah.
So
standard.
that's anywhere between
12-ish.
10 and 40.
10 and 40. Yeah, I think 12-ish is a good guess.
12-ish. Yeah. What was your plan, to take a taxi or
Yeah,
something?
the decision is whether or not to meet her at the hotel or drive on your own. So really, it's just whether or not to carpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
Because you're still meeting her
With the stranger.
with the stranger, yeah.
Right. Because do we know? Oh, well, okay. We're going to the same place regardless?
Yes.
Let's take the taxi. I don't know this person.
Yeah, I don't. I
It's
gotta-
weird. Like, that it's for your own good. There's no
Yeah.
context in which that's okay.
All right, well, maybe I should show you all the picture of her and that might change your mind because in the
That
picture,
haircut.
You can
might
always
change
trust
your
someone
mind.
based on their looks.
Yeah, you can. That's fair.
there's the
Especially when they're
there's
trying
the
to give you
damn
good
picture.
advice.
Okay, so here she is. So she's got a short take. Let me see your manager haircut.
Okay.
And she's got knee socks. And she's very friendly looking.
She also has a ponytail, though.
Yeah, and she's got a ponytail.
She's
there's
got a
ponytail?
mullet.
Okay, yeah, she's got a mullet.
Well, that changes things.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
And she is just touching you, like just. Yeah, and you are not happy about it. You are looking.
So she
at
just
her.
immediately goes past your bubble, and then she says, "It's
Yeah.
for your own good."
Exactly.
And you're like, "Oh, sure, I'm gonna go with this
Yeah.
person."
This
No,
is,
I don't
and this
know.
is late 80s, so we've got stranger danger out there by now,
Yeah,
right?
that's
I
for
feel
sure.
like that's...
I mean, she's not wearing a hat and she's not wearing a trench coat, so that's a start. Like we know that she's not that stranger. But
Right, she's not the...
we don't know what's underneath the trench coat and the hat, so
Right.
True. And
That's
you've
all I'm
most
saying.
recently seen the Indiana Jones Last Crusade, where
Oh,
the
yep.
woman who comes to meet you is actually the villain.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She could be a Nazi.
yep.
Yep, she could be a Nazi.
All right, so
All right.
we're gonna.
I'm going to say take the
We're just
cab
gonna
or
take
whatever.
the safest route every time.
We're
man,
just,
you
I
gotta-
do not trust this.
You are afraid of.
She
a
can
stealth
meet us
kit.
at the
We're
hotel
12.
if it's such a big deal. You know what?
All right, so we'll turn it to page 65. I had kind of a disturbing trip up here, you tell Anna. I'm sorry, but I don't feel that I can trust anybody right now. Have it your way, Anna shrugs. Then she turns and disappears into the throng.
Okay.
You lug your bags to the taxi stand. Barker House Hotel, you tell the dispatcher. I'm going to the same place, says a voice behind you.
Oh no.
Is it a tall, heavy-set man?
No, you turn around and see an old lady wearing a floppy hat and sunglasses. So my voice was way off.
Oh no, that's a great voice for her. That's a great voice.
Her face is as dried and wrinkled as an apricot.
She's a smoker.
She's carrying a shopping bag and looks like a tourist. Why don't we share?
All these
She
decisions
suggests
about
amiably.
carpooling.
Oh, yeah, this is straight up her voice now for the rest of the...
Sure, you smile, relaxing a bit. Maybe you just have a case of nerves after all. You climb into the cab and it pulls away from the curb. As soon as you are out of sight of the train station, the friendly old woman opens one of her bags. Where's that chocolate bar? She mutters to herself. I want some chocolate. But instead of chocolate, she pulls out a revolver.
Oh,
Before you have a chance to react, she gives you a big grin and thunks you on the head with the gun,
Oh man.
knocking you out cold. You slump to the floor. And there is a 2-page spread of what just happened.
Yeah, when you turned the page, I saw that. I was like, oh, shit.
yeah.
The old lady is clearly not an old lady.
It's clearly...
It's just
So
a dude dressed up like an old lady.
you did use an accurate voice.
Oh, yeah, she looks
We've
like,
been- yeah.
Fantastic.
who was the mom from Goonies?
Oh,
the-
yeah, clumsy poop. Yeah, that lady.
I don't know, from this angle it looks
Yeah.
like a Jason mask to me.
Yeah, right.
But also mixed with a little Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
like,
Oh
from the
yeah.
costume.
You're like, what?
She's a man.
What the heck were their names?
I don't know.
Ooh, someone groans. Okay. Ooh, someone groans in pain. After a moment, you realize it's you.
Oh, that's what it was. That's good.
You're tied to a chair in an unbearably hot, airless room. A large gash on your forehead has swollen your right eye shut. Help me, you whimper softly. In the next room, you hear a door opening and the footsteps of several people entering. Is the kid awake yet? Someone asks. You think it's a woman from the cab, but you're not positive. Nah, not the last time I looked. Any luck with the camels? A man replies. Before there's an answer, someone moves toward the door and through the room you're in. You watch as the handle slowly starts to turn.
Ooh, this could be a death ending, guys.
Yeah.
Not much of an
Yeah,
adventure
this is
happened,
getting
but
pretty intense, and we're gonna find out what happens after this quick word from our sponsors.
SexyHackers.com.
Hi, kids. It's me, James Jameson. The very familiar talking wallaby constable. that we all know here in Australian media. Just reminding you about stranger danger. If you're out alone, say if your parents go on a 3-week vacation without you to America, be sure not to trust anyone. That includes young ladies in khakis, weird men in hallways, and especially old people. Remember, old people hate you because you're young. So if an old person tries to come up against you and says maybe shares a cab, don't go with them. Shout crikey instead.
Thanks, James.
You're welcome, buckaroo. All right, you little dingoes. You be safe out there. Remember what James Jameson always says. Yell crikey and run away.
I hate old people now.
sexyhackers.com.
And we're back. That was a wonderful PSA from Australia.
Good friend, the wallaby.
Late 80s Australia.
Yep. So, says the woman from the cab as she marches into the room like a sergeant, you've woken up. She's followed by none other than the strange man with the briefcase. The man who ran into you on the train yesterday. Only today, he is much more elegantly dressed, sporting riding jofers and a fancy pair of leather riding boots. A monocle glints at you from his left eye.
Well, if he was wearing a monocle before, we would have known he was a bad guy. Jeez.
We have a few questions for you.
He becomes German.
I knew it was Nazis all along.
He announces with no further introduction. Again, you notice his strange accent. Why were you all pestering me in the train yesterday?
Very strange accent.
Why was I pestering you? You cry indignantly, wincing as you move your head for the first time. Who ran into whom? You say, because your English is perfect.
Yeah. Also, by the way, I left your shit alone, douchebag.
We asked the questions, snaps the old woman. What was your reason for coming to Alice Springs? Now you have to think quickly. I come every summer, you say, to visit friends. My best friend is here, in fact.
Waldo's not here.
That shy hug, I'll never forget.
Do you know anything about camels? The woman asks, peering you into your good eye. Camels, sure. I know about camels. You lie. What else? What else is there to do in Alice except ride camels? The man and woman laugh uproariously at this. We can use this one to buy the camels for us, Hans, says the woman. See, I keep on calling. Hans. His name is Hans. All right.
That explains everything.
That explains everything. He's got a monocle. Of course his name is Hans.
Didn't Waldo tell you to watch out for wild camels or something? Or was
Yeah,
that
He did tell you to
Gilroy?
watch out for wild camels.
Wow,
that a
there's
problem?
actually foreshadowing involved?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think that is actually a problem. And
I'm
they do use
impressed.
camels a lot in Australia.
They do. They have wild camels in Australia. The two leave the room to confer. When they return a few minutes later, two tough-looking young men come with them. We are going to a camel farm. We wish to purchase at least 11 camels. Since you know camels, you will negotiate, Hans announces tersely. Then what, you demand? Then you will be let go to continue on your holiday, the woman tells you. Somehow, you don't think Grandma here is telling the truth. But you say, but what say do you have in the matter? Okay, somehow you don't think Grandma's telling the truth, but what say do you have in the matter? The toughs untie your hands and feet and lead you outside. You are surprised to find that their hideout is just a regular house in a regular neighborhood. Some regular-looking kids are playing on bikes across the street. Seeing them gives you an idea. You are surrounded by the 4 adults, but your hands and feet are free. If you move fast and run for it, you could reach the kids. Maybe they would help you. There are so many of them that your captors couldn't kidnap them too. If you decide to try making an escape, turn to page 63. If you decide to bide your time because there's bound to be another opportunity to escape later.
Wait, you didn't just add that?
Okay, that sounded like it was just something you were saying. Not that it was actually written on paper. Wow.
That's one of your choices.
Wow.
Again, your second choice is if you decide to bide your time because there's bound to be another opportunity to escape later. Turn to page 42.
Well,
I feel like the narrator is leading us to wait, but
I
or maybe
remember
not.
back to when I would watch these PSAs from James
James
Jameson.
Jameson,
Yeah,
yeah.
the ball
No, I
of the
remember
constable.
those, yeah.
the Constable
I feel
Wally.
like this is the perfect opportunity to shout "Crocky" and run towards those kids.
I mean, you pretty much have to.
Because I mean, they're taking you to a second location,
Yes.
which is never good.
No.
If you know anything
that's-
about kidnapping,
Oh yeah. I mean, no, I don't know anything.
being kidnapped. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you know about
That's it,
kidnapping?
I don't know
Jake?
anything.
Seems
The look
to
of
know a
concern,
lot.
the immediate look of concern on Laura's face was priceless. Like, I know a lot. What?
oh,
Don't
by the
worry
way,
about
Jake,
it.
I can't get you that rope you keep asking for. They said they're all out. So
Shut up. Sorry.
And also,
talk
once they
later.
get you to the camel farm and your camel knowledge is pretty limited because you put down the beginner's book on camels pretty early in, they're going to find out and they
Right.
might whoop you solid.
I'm a little confused as to why this group of adults can't just negotiate for camels on their own.
Because they're not experts and one has a funny accent.
Yeah,
God.
the Australian are like, oh, I'm not selling to you. You've got an accent. There's no laws against that here.
There's no way to speak English.
Yeah.
Do you
You're
think
doing
at
it all wrong.
Do you think at the end of this there's going to be a logical explanation? Do we think there's
no.
going to
Yeah,
be?
no, probably not.
It's just going to be out of curiosity because I'm trying to think of like what possible scenario could this ever happen.
Well, we have to dig deeper
We
into this
have to
book.
dig
Gotta
deeper.
but if we run away, we might never find
we
out.
might never find out, but I
No,
think we should.
I think we should run to
Yeah.
these other children because they made the mistake of having witnesses out here.
I mean, they look normal too. So that
Unless
helps.
those kids are all like killed.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be a dark turn.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Wait, what are we doing?
We're gonna
Run.
for the
We're gonna
kids.
try to make a break for it.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
making a break for
And
it.
Jake is halfway secretly hoping that the kids are all killed because of your foolish decision.
Because you're
As an
looping them
example.
into it.
Because you brought him into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could happen.
Cool.
All right,
This
cool.
will be fun.
Crikey, you say. No. You don't say crikey. You say, look, there's my uncle, you shout, pointing up the street. Your four captors, falling for the oldest trick in the book, look in the opposite direction. In that split second, tearing across the road, you yell, help! I've been kidnapped! You have to save me! You're halfway to freedom when the icy hand of doom claps onto your shoulder.
Oh.
It's the old lady. She must lift weights, you think. Her grip is solid.
But she's
Mom.
also doing cardio if she can catch you.
Yeah,
Like,
no joke.
It's a good mix.
Yeah.
My grandchild is a little unruly, she says sweetly to the staring kids. Afraid of the dentist. She adds with a warm smile. You're not my grandmother. I never saw you before in my life. You shout. The kids start to laugh. They don't believe you.
Oh man, it's the police all over again.
They have never watched Captain James Jameson, the Wallaby Constable.
So I guess the terror in Australia is hashtag me too. That's the terror that's happening in Australia.
It's like the one thing when people says you're not my grandmother. That's terrible.
One of the thugs has come to aid the old woman. There's no chance of getting away now, no matter how fiercely you resist. Back inside the car, Hans turns to you and says, how very unfortunate, my young friend, that you tried to resist. If only you had cooperated. Oh, man.
I feel like if he had screamed, "I'm being kidnapped," that might have been a little bit more believable. Like this is, "I'm being kidnapped currently." Like he was gonna be like, "Ah, what a funny joke."
Right. That's what I'd scream if I were having to go to the dentist. I'd scream that I was being kidnapped and this wasn't my grandmother.
No, I really like my dentist.
I do
too. That's fair.
They're good people, yeah.
Shortly thereafter, Hans gives you a special injection.
Oh, whoa,
no.
Whoa.
This is getting dark in different ways.
Oh, sorry. SVU. Yep.
Shortly thereafter, Hans gives you a special injection. You never regain consciousness.
Oh,
Your destiny like your corpse, becomes a buried secret. 1,000 years in the future, a young archaeologist comes across your skeleton.
Jeez.
Ah, she says to herself, more proof of that ancient civilization. The end.
Holy shit!
Wow.
That was the darkest ending we've had on any of these.
Just straight up ice the main character right away.
What is their logic there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
They must really want these camels. Like, I don't understand.
Really want these damn camels.
Well,
Yeah.
where else are they going to find a young camel expert?
well, he
That's
tried
true.
to escape. That'll teach the next kid we kidnap, who will never find out about your death.
Yeah. I mean, it was looking pretty bad as soon as Grandma took a gun out of her purse, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
But still, that's
Should've trusted
What
that.
has this kid even done? He got a phone call like, "Come to a city." All right, let's murder him. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, like,
Has he even
Well,
done
you
anything?
shouldn't have tried to run away.
I guess not.
yeah, your totally understandable
I mean,
instinct to
you should
escape.
have known not to do that.
So, children, if you're listening, make sure if you're kidnapped, never to run
Do
away.
whatever you're
Resist.
kidnapped.
Do whatever you're told.
Don't resist, kids.
Don't resist.
Don't resist.
Coming from the guy that earlier was like, I know a lot about kidnapping.
Oh, man.
we gotta. Well, that can't be our. That can't be our
that
end.
can't
I
be
mean,
our
that
I'm
is
sorry.
the, I'm sure that there are plenty of other mysteries to be found in Terror in Australia by Shannon Gilligan, which we will discover next week on Turn to Page Fun. Thank you so much to my guests today, Mr. Brian Bayer,
Crikey.
Crikey, and Laura.
Just don't resist.
Just
Just
don't
sit there nicely.
And thank you so much, Jacob, for being here and helping us make decisions that lead to our lethal injection.
My pleasure. I'm not a kidnapper, so just want to put that out there. Gotta get that
And
documented.
professional not kidnapper, Jake Wolfel, was our guest.
That's a little better than tromboner, so I'll take it.
Thank you again so much to Sexy Hackers for giving us this wonderful, wonderful studio to play in. And thank you to Jason. And thank you to yourself for joining us and listening to our review of this book. We'll see you next week on Turn to Page Fun!
SexyHackers.com! Stream Team!